He was on the beach with us. Originally, he was in the pool with us, and then we decided to go to the beach, and he was there, and he was hanging out with us until I left. I don't know what transpired after that, but he was on the beach with us, and he was the one that took the picture. So she did lie on the stand about that because he, in fact, took the picture.
There was a picture of you with her at the beach, and there was another young lady there. Do you recall that?
I recall the picture, yes.
And that was Father's Day weekend, I guess, of 2014?
Yes, ma'am.
And I think your testimony was that really you only knew her with Charlie. Is that right?
That's right.
Was Charlie at the beach?
Diving down the rabbit hole, deep dive, true crime with Jackie Siege, Jermaine.
I released this video in its full form already on my channel. And although I had listened to a few of Yendra's interviews, True Crime Wifey sent me one that I hadn't. This interview had more information that I felt was imperative to update you about.
There was a picture of you with her at the beach, and there was another young lady there. Do you recall that?
I recall the picture, yes.
And that was Father's Day weekend, I guess, of 2014?
Yes, ma'am.
And I think your testimony was that really you only knew her with Charlie. Is that right?
That's right.
Was Charlie at the beach?
No.
I want to start out by saying I mean no shade to Yendra. Obviously, between her and Wendy, I'm going to believe her. There's a few things about this picture, though, that are bothering me.
Because, I have more of a broad view and opinions on things. Sometimes I play devil's advocate, and I'm like, but what if?
What if indeed, Yendra? And above the words of others, I'm always going to trust my eyes the most. So let's break this down.
I had chicken sandwiches and sangria. I remember that very well.
To me, these don't look like sangrias. I understand that there's white wine sangria, which is maybe what this is. And who knows, maybe they nibbled all the fruit out of it. I'm not going to harp on this one too much, but out of all the things that I'm picking out of this photo, this is the least problematic. So let's move on. Actually, let's not. Let's back up, because I have some new information that changes how I feel about this.
We're all hanging out and we're having a good time and we're in the pool, and then they're like, hey, do you want to go to the beach? We can order food on the beach. And I was like, yeah, sure. Like at that point, we're hungry because it's been a couple of hours. So, I remember we ordered chicken sandwiches and we had red sangria.
Which is quite interesting, because although I thought this could possibly have been white sangria, this most certainly is not red sangria. This is the Bank of America debit card from 2014.
He is the type of man that he wants to make sure everybody knows that he has money, in whichever way that is.
And I agree with this wholeheartedly. If Charlie is at the beach with the girls, he wouldn't have let any of them pay.
So we're hanging out. Katie gets a text, from Charlie. It's like, hey, what are you doing? And she was like, oh, nothing. I'm having brunch with Yendra. And he said, well, do you guys want to come to the pool? And Katie's like, hey, do you want to go to the pool? And I was like, I guess, cool, let's go. So I knew that if we were going to go to the pool, it was either at his house or it was at his parents' house, because I knew that his parents had a condo in South Beach. And I was like, this guy is always very, he splurges. He was not stingy.
Yeah, we see a Bank of America debit card here. So why is this a problem? From the state's discovery, these are the financial records of our key players. Wendy Adelson had an American Express, Regions Bank, and Charles Schwab investment accounts. Charlie Adelson had American Express, Regions Bank with multiple accounts, and a Capital One credit card, as well as a Charles Schwab investment account. So neither Wendy nor Charlie have Bank of America accounts. So whose card is this? Sigfredo Garcia's financial records, his DMV records, his Coastal Masonry employment records, his income tax records, his checkings and savings accounts with Bank of America. Going to Katie's financials, we have various employment records, Chase Bank, and Bank of America. And who is it directly in front of? Katie.
So Charlie is taking care of all the drinks and everything? He's paying for everything?
Yeah, we didn't pay anything. Absolutely nothing. Like, he was like, oh, whatever you guys want, it's fine. I got it. And it was normal. This is, I had only hung out with him a handful of times. And the other times he was, we went out to a club once. And then another time I saw him because we were getting in the limo. He owned a limo. And for her birthday, we used the limo and he took care of the driver. He wanted to make sure everything was cool. And, he met the driver and he was like, make sure you take care of them wherever they want to go, blah, blah, blah. So the times that I met him, he was the same way, he splurged and he didn't care. So I was just like, all right, it's not a big deal. I started to think about all the investment properties this man had. And I was like, not only does he have plenty of investment properties, he's a periodontist. He's a specialist. Like, he's not just your regular dentist. Like, this man is banking. So I was like, I'm a single mom on one solid salary, raising a kid, and now obviously I have another kid on the way. Didn't know, but I had another kid on the way. And I was like, no deal. I'm going to have some drinks and some food. It wasn't a big deal.
Maybe you're asking yourself how this proves that Charlie did not take the picture. If you understand what an egomaniac Charlie is, there would be no way that he would allow Katie to pay for anything if he was there.
And Charlie called and invited us to the pool. We stopped at Katie's house. I grabbed a bathing suit because it was closer to go to her home than mine. We went to the pool. We hung up at the beach. Charlie took the picture. He said, you guys look so nice just laying there in the sand. Why don't you take a picture? And we did. And that was pretty much it. And he was on the beach with us. Originally, he was in the pool with us. And then we decided to go to the beach and he was there and he was hanging out with us.
And, we're sitting there, we're eating, we're chatting. And, Charlie goes, hey, you guys should take a picture. You guys look so cute. Just, like laying there, getting some sun. And I'm like, sure. And we just all turn and take this picture.
So that
goes and gets posted on Facebook. And then I see it on the big screen at trial.
Wild.
Now, again, I'm not accusing Yindra of deception, but I would like to highlight one more thing. Note the angle of this photograph. It is completely at ground level, to the point that we're getting more of the towel than we are of the sky. To me, it seems more plausible that this phone is propped up on something and potentially using the front-facing camera. But it's more than just the angle of the photo. This is the pillow on this side. This is the pillow on this side. Here is the bullfrog sunscreen container that's laying on the ground. And this very much looks like a cell phone.
This is my island in the sun.
Wild. So it's Charlie's idea. He wants to take the picture. Are you each, does he send it to you? Are you like each posting it social media? Is it just him posting it to Facebook? But that's Charlie's idea.
No, he took the picture with Katie's phone.
Okay.
And so Katie has the picture. So Katie posts it on her Facebook. and tags me on it. So I believe I reposted the picture at that time when she had tagged me in it. I didn't think it was a big deal. I was like, I just met this girl, Wendy, I just met her. She wasn't tagged or anything. Like, they weren't friends on social media or anything like that. In my head, I thought that was maybe the first or second time they met. So I was just like, oh, it's just a casual, regular picture, So I thought nothing of it. But then when I see it at trial, I was like, oh my God.
Now, Sigfredo and Katie's first trial is notoriously hard to find on YouTube. And up until the other day, I had only been able to find clips of the trial, but not the full stream. So when I finally managed to track it down, I went back to watch Yinda's first testimony and was absolutely shocked by what I saw. Another fucking picture. I'd be lying if I didn't say that this left me absolutely speechless. I think the best thing to do is to compare the two photos. The biggest visual difference between these two photos is the quality. The photo on top is much more grainy and less detailed than the bottom picture. Although this could be attributed to the quality of the projector being used in the courtroom, I highly suspect that the quality difference is due to the top one being taken with the front-facing camera and the bottom one being taken with the rear-facing, most likely being taken with an iPhone 4 that had a 0.3 megapixel front-facing camera and a 5 megapixel rear-facing camera.
I'm going to be talking about how to take a picture using the front-facing camera on your iPhone 4. So in order to take a picture on the front-facing camera, which is a new feature of iPhone 4, simply navigate to your camera, and you'll see a little icon at the top right, and that is to switch between the front-facing camera and the camera on the back side of the phone. So in this case, the front-facing camera is not active, so I'll simply select that button, and it will make the switch, and there I am. And I can simply now take a picture using the front-facing camera, and I just did that, and I can see that picture here if I navigate to my camera roll, and that is how you take a picture using the front-facing camera on iPhone 4.
She could have possibly had the newer model iPhone 4S with an 8 megapixel rear-facing camera and the same VGA 0.3 megapixel front-facing. The angles of the photos, however, are also much different, and that I am certain is solely from the camera itself. Let's focus first on the cups. As we can notice, we're getting significantly more of a top-down view on the bottom photo versus straight almost underneath the lids in the top one. Then looking at the umbrellas, we can see the same thing. Due to the distance being further from the camera, it's not as obvious as the cups are, but we can still see underneath the umbrellas a little more in the top photo, which I feel is like the most clear to see with the umbrella that's over Yindra's shoulder. In my opinion, I feel the girls decided to take the top photo first using the front-facing camera, and then not being happy with the quality, decided to flip the phone around and use the rear-facing camera. During which time Yindra decides to put her sunglasses on, and of course Wendy does not, so we can all see her piercingly beautiful, breathtaking blue eyes.
Did you ever meet Charlie Adelson's sister, Wendy Adelson?
I did.
And when did you meet her?
Father's Day weekend.
Do you recall what year?
2015, I want to say. It's on my depo.
I'm looking for it. Would that help you remember if I can find it?
Yes.
May I approach, Your Honor?
You bet.
For defense counsel, I'm on page 98, lines 4 and 5.
Two and 14.
Okay, so
Yes.
Father's Day of 2014.
Yes.
What were the circumstances surrounding your meeting Wendy Adelson?
We just met up at the pool and at the beach downstairs from her parents' place.
That's down in Miami?
Yes, correct, in South Beach.
And who all was there that day?
Charlie, Katie, myself, and sister.
I'm going to show you a photograph that's in evidence at State's Exhibit 36. Do you recognize the people in this photograph?
Yes.
Who is the individual on the far left?
Katie.
Catherine McVanilla?
Yes.
And who is the individual in the middle?
Wendy.
And then who is that on the far right?
Me.
That photograph had, every picture has data associated with it. If the data associated with that photograph says June 15, 2014, do you remember that being consistent with Father's Day in that year?
Yes, because my child was with her dad that day.
So you're probably asking yourself why this even matters.
I was friends with Katie. Yes, of course. We were best of friends. She's my kid's godmother. But I would never want to be put in that same bubble that I'm friends with Wendy.
And to be fair, it does not look like you are friends with Wendy here. Yindra looks like she's just leaned in for the picture. You can tell by the angle of her body that this was a very temporary and fleeting pose. Her weight is shifted over to her right arm, as opposed to Wendy and Katie, who have their weight both evenly distributed. However, looking at the side-by-side of these two photos, my reasoning has somewhat changed. She looks way more comfortable in the first picture and is also closer to Wendy. You can see, however, that between pictures, Yindra put on her glasses and the girls moved the drinks to try to be out of the picture, which may account for Yindra's positioning in the second picture.
I was friends with Katie. Yes, of course. We were best of friends. She's my kid's godmother. But I would never want to be put in that same bubble that I'm friends with Wendy.
Now, if you knew nothing about this picture, who would you assume are friends? These two people? Or these two people? Except she looks much more comfortable in this first picture and much friendlier with little Wendy Pooh.
Watched your trial. We watched today. Some of us watched your first testimony, and you were just so awesome. You're the type of witness that we like to watch. Someone who's honest, someone who's not trying to add, details to stuff. You just told the truth. You told your story, and it was awesome. So first of all, thank you for that. It was great.
Thank you so much.
Um,
Thank you. I mean, to me, it was easy because it's like, if you're not lying and you're not making anything up, your story's never going to change, ever. And I think that I had the same exact wording pretty much both times that I testified. Like, nothing really changed. Like, my paperwork, and I read over my transcripts, and I studied them over and over because, of course, it's years. The first arrest was in 2016. We are now in 2024. And even when I first testified, it was 3 years in. And so much happened within those 3 years. Like, that's not the first thing on the top of my head. Everybody tuned in, they cheered me on, they told me how great I did. I studied my transcript back and forth. I think I read that transcript no less than 50 times between the time that I knew I was subpoenaed to the day of the testimony. I sat at that bench outside in that hallway reading my transcript because I wanted to make sure that I had all my facts together, all my T's crossed and all my I's dotted, because I didn't want anybody to think like, hey, this girl's making stuff up or, whatever, because that's not it. I'm telling the truth. I don't have anything to hide. I've never had anything to hide, thankfully. And to me, it was easy because it's like, if you're not lying and you're not making anything up, your story's never going to change.
So this statement really caught me off guard. I agree with her that there's only one version of the truth. And I also agree that it's not hard to tell that one version if you're telling the truth. I also see the value in reviewing your transcript before you take the stand. What I don't understand is why, if you're telling the truth, you would have to study that transcript 50 times over to the point of memorization. I can see wanting to refresh herself about specific dates, etc., but being a peripheral witness as she is, I'm really at a loss for why she would need to go to such lengths to memorize word for word her transcript. What confuses me further is why then this situation happened during her second testimony.
Do you remember around the time that Catherine Benoit and Charlie Wilson broke up?
I don't recall.
Okay, would it refresh your recollection to see a copy of your trial testimony where you mentioned that?
Sure.
Okay.
I have something.
You have
here.
it? Okay.
Is it this?
Yeah.
Okay.
If thank you. I would have been looking all
Hold
over.
on one second. Let's make sure. I don't want her reading other portions of it. If that, so
Yes, sir.
are you going to a specific page? And do you have a copy of it?
I have a copy, Judge. I just didn't know it was up there open and.
All right. Well, she had referred to it once before.
Okay.
I think it stayed on the same page. I can't see it. Is
Have
there
you-
a particular page that you want her to refer to?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
If you could look at page 54, lines 18 through 21 of your trial transcript.
What was the line number?
18 through 21.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Did that refresh your recollection about when you remember them breaking up?
Yes.
And when was that?
It was either January or February of 2015.
It's curious to me that she's so well versed with the prior transcript of her testimony, why she was unable to remember the date, which understandably is a little nitpicky on my part, but still something that struck me as odd that I wanted to point out.
I studied my transcript back and forth. I think I read that transcript no less than 50 times between the time that I knew I was subpoenaed to the day of the testimony. I sat at that bench outside in that hallway reading my transcript because I wanted to make sure that I had all my facts together, all my T's crossed and all my I's dotted, because I didn't want anybody to think like, hey, this girl's making stuff up or, whatever, because that's not it. I'm telling the truth. I don't have anything to hide. I've never had anything to hide, thankfully.
Which this may be the basis of why her story about Charlie taking the picture has remained consistent over all of her interviews.
And, we're sitting there, we're eating, we're chatting. And, Charlie goes, hey, you guys should take a picture. You guys look so cute. Just, like laying there, getting some sun. And I'm like, sure. And we just all turn and take this picture.
Yeah. And then I think you said that it was Charlie's idea to take a picture.
Yeah. He was like, oh, you guys should take a picture. And then we were like, okay. And like, we all just turned and we were all already laying there talking. So we all just kind of turned and he took the picture.
Was it Charlie's idea for the photo? Did that seem odd to have a photo taken, Yindra?
It was his idea to take the photo. He's like, oh, you guys are laying there together. Why don't you just take a picture? And I was just like, okay. And we just all turned and took the picture.
And Yindra, they want clarification. She mentioned this at the beginning, but Yindra, can you please clear up if Charlie took the picture of you three on the beach?
But he was on the beach with us and he was the one that took the picture. So she did lie on the stand about that because he, in fact, took the picture.
Now, there's one crucial thing that I noticed about her recollection of this picture, and I'm going to play these back to see if you notice it as well.
Charlie goes, hey, you guys should take a picture. You guys look so cute. Just, like laying there, getting some sun. And I'm like, sure. And we just all turn and take this picture.
Yeah. And then I think you said that it was Charlie's idea to take a picture.
Yeah. He was like, oh, you guys should take a picture. And then we were like, okay. And like, we all just turned and we were all already laying there talking. So we all just kind of turned and he took the picture.
It was his idea to take the photo. He's like, oh, you guys are laying there together. Why don't you just take a picture? And I was just like, okay. And we just all turned and took the picture. But he was on the beach with us and he was the one that took the picture. So she did lie on the stand about that because he, in fact, took the picture.
She wavers back and forth between saying that they took the picture and Charlie took the picture. Between the 4 clips that we have, she says twice that Charlie took the picture and twice that they took the picture. And even though she remains consistent that it was Charlie's idea, this part changes.
And we just all turn and take this picture.
And we just all turned and took the picture.
In those two clips, she says that they took the picture. In the next two clips, she insists that Charlie took it.
And he took the picture.
He was the one that took the picture. So she did lie on the stand about that because he, in fact, took the picture.
To me, it was easy because it's like, if you're not lying and you're not making anything up, your story's never going to change.
So why does it? In my last video, I didn't want to speculate on why she wouldn't be telling the truth. But genuinely, I have some thoughts about it. And I think my main reasoning can be summed up really well by Yindra's own words in this next clip.
There's another one for Yindra from Rosie. Yindra, and now you can settle the score here, because Yindra, she was emailing us saying, I don't get why people think I'm friends with Wendy. But Yindra, did you speak to Wendy other than the picture on the beach? If you don't know, there's a picture of the three of them that I believe Charlie took. Tell us about that day, Yindra. Tell us about that photo.
So what we were talking about earlier was because I've seen since this trial, I feel like there's a lot of new people watching this trial, or a lot of people that are new to the case and really don't know, about, how long it's been running and all of that. But I've seen some comments online where, the picture has been reposted and people are commenting and they're like, well, it looked like it was a girls' day and it looked like they were all friends and all of that. Yeah, no. I was friends with Katie. Yes, of course. We were best of friends. She's my kid's godmother, but I would never want to be put in that same bubble that I'm friends with Wendy, ever in life. So no.
I feel like this is the main reason why she wanted to distance herself from this photo. I feel like innocently enough, she just doesn't want to be associated with Wendy on any deeper level. And by making this picture seem like it was Charlie's idea, she does just that. Because when a group of girls decide they want a picture of themselves, it's because they're having a good time together and they want to remember this day. This becomes less of a girls' day and more of a casual thing if Charlie is the one in charge of this picture. And there's another really important point to make.
Raise your right hand, please.
You swear from testimony about giving this case to be truth, whole truth, and nothing but true stuff together.
I do.
Have a seat, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you introduce yourself to the jury, please?
My name is Yindra Velasquez Mascaro, YINDRAVELAZQUEZMASCARO.
Yindra never specified who took these pictures in court. A lot of the comments that I've received on this has questioned why she would lie under oath. Except she didn't. This statement has only been made on podcasts. So honestly, a little white lie to save your public perception is not that big of a deal to me. This photo, is more than anything, proves that Wendy and Katie had a relationship outside of Charlie, which the implications of that are even more pertinent to this case and have the potential to move Wendy even closer to the conspiracy. I don't want to rehash too much of what I discussed in my last video, but making a direct connection between Katie and Wendy explains many unanswered questions. Most importantly, how Katie knew the murder was done before Sigfredo told her.
So before or after the phone conversation, but the phone conversation, he tells her it's done. And she says, yes, I know, something like that.
Yeah.
But
that's my understanding the way I heard it. So I'm because I'm trying, but my window's cracked. So I'm like, I screwed up a little bit because I really want to see what she's going to say. So I'm trying, I'm like, what she said, she know? She like, yeah. I'm like, fuck, she know about this shit so fast. I don't know if Wendy was still up here. I don't know what was going on, but.
Because even Luis knew that there was only one person who could have told Katie.
What she said, she know? She like, yeah. I'm like, fuck, she know about this shit so fast. I don't know if Wendy was still up here. I don't know what was going on, but.
I don't know what's going on either, but I have a pretty good hunch, and you can be sure as shit that we're going to get to the bottom of it.